Hi, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good day, wherever you are watching. I am absolutely delighted to welcome you to the latest edition of Lunchtime Learnings, and with an incredible guest, Mr. Jim Parker from Five Properties, which isn't as good as the introduction that you had on your recent kerfuffle last Sunday, which was, I must admit, David Mintz and Simon Whale. I was incredibly impressed. I think that you have raised the bar, and at the moment, I'm definitely not going there.
This is kind of where I look over my shoulder and think, who are you talking
about? But I'm incredibly grateful to have you on and joining me today. So, Jim, you have been a financial controller. You have had a Century 21 franchise, which you did incredibly well. I saw you were a Centurion 21. You posted, which we can talk about what that means. You have obviously got Five Properties and not incredibly successful, the #1 estate agent, not only in Fife in Scotland, according to the Esters, so which is incredible. You are a man who's got a small property empire, who is constantly talking about wealth and increasing wealth, does the most incredible Facebook Lives, video. So thank you so much for joining me. So how did you get started? How did you go from a financial controller to Century 21 to running your own? Well, I suppose you were running it twice, but one was a franchise, one's now your own business. So what made you decide to change?
For me, it was a natural progression. When I was a financial controller in the industry, I'd actually been building up a property portfolio at the same time. So, I founded Fife Landlords Association in 1999 with the rest of the land. I got 20 other big landlords together because we were constantly getting picked on by the government and by the local authority. And I thought, I've had enough. It's like we're going to have to get people together to actually gang up against them and kind of have a sort of union for landlords. And because landlords aren't represented, it's a poor representation we've got. There's 50 other bodies that represent tenants, but there's only about 2 bodies that represent landlords. It's crazy. And that's where it started for me, because I felt that I was building that journey and I was building my property empire, but also building my career as a result. Because even at that time, I was reading books, had mentors, I was listening to tapes. Tapes.
I know.
People are thinking, what's tapes? Audios.
Faxes. There was when I first started, there was a printer that you used to have by reception, telexes.
So there you go. So it was tapes, books, upline support, functions as well. So I was doing all that way before I was a financial controller, and that accelerated my career in the industry. But at the same time, it also opened my thinking to think, wait a minute, I'm never going to be successful working for someone else. I have to do something for myself. But I felt the security of what I had with my job was perfect for me, and I could run that alongside of doing property investment, because property investment is a hands-off if you really want it to be. But I was very hands-on, so I literally worked 160 hours a week and never stopped. People talk about burning the candle at both ends, but I burnt it at both ends and in the middle. There was no candle left. Literally. And that's why I've not got any hair left as well. but it was these things I had to do because I felt I had to do them. It's the whole thing about, you're either going to pay a price now or you're going to pay a price later. And I would certainly think the price I'm going to pay now to get what I want later is going to be a lot less than the price I'll pay later on. And I really mean about retiring on less than 2/3 of what you couldn't afford to live on in the first place. And for me, that was a big thing for me. I wanted to. I never really felt I was destined for anything. I just felt that I wanted to do more. I wanted to be more, but I didn't know what that was. So that's what got me into property investment, because that was the right vehicle, I thought, to run alongside what I did now. Because my career was taking off. I really wanted to be the Alan Sugar, the Tiny Roland, the Richard Branson of the world in terms of manufacturing and industry. And I had that opportunity at one point, at a crossroads I had, and I actually thought that's not going to set me free. So I actually turned it down to do that. And that was when I was about 30. So I always wanted to be a company director before I was 30, and I managed to do that. And that was going from homeless and unemployed at 21 years old to actually being a company director. So homeless, unemployed, and no actual qualifications, to being a company director and financial controller before I was 30. And then I always wanted to retire before I was 40, financially free. And I managed to do that at 38. And literally that's what I wanted to do. So the natural progression for me when I retired at 38 was out of industry was there was a period where I was lost in translation, because I felt that, you know, it's like I didn't need to do anything for the rest of my life. I was still earning money. But I couldn't last like that, because it's almost asking a racing car to stop racing, or an athlete to stop running. It wasn't possible, and it got to me, and I learned a lot of lessons in that lost in translation period. But it was at that time that one of my best friends, who was my real estate agent for Remax, he was the top in Scotland, and I said, I'm thinking about selling a property, and he said, I'm thinking about starting my own estate agency. And I went, oh, I quite fancy a bit of that. Now, talk about preparation and opportunity meeting. I was preparing all that time for this opportunity. And it was that point of readiness that arrived, where he was ready, I was ready, and I felt that I had somebody I could go into business with and actually build something as a result. And that's how Century 21 came about. There was an epiphany moment where I thought, Century who? Because it's like, who the hell's Century 21? And then I actually went out to Spain, to our place in Spain at the back of that. And I was standing in the harbour, and I looked up on the balcony of one of the apartments, and there it was, Century 21 for sale. I thought, is this the sun and the moon and the stars telling me something? Is this the laws of attraction? I'm getting told something by the universe, that, because I never knew who Century 21 was, and then this sign appears out of nowhere, like this big light in the sky, and this big bang moment, and think, wait a minute, it's all happening at once. This is meant to be, and that's how Century 21 came about, and we helped build it from there. We literally helped build Century 21 from scratch in the UK. Gordon and I, because he had the knowledge and I had the systems experience. I've got to admit, the master franchise holder was really just a salesman. And then when it came down to it, and so we helped build a lot of the infrastructure in the beginning with Century 21 to make it happen, and to build it with them. I always felt that I was paying for the privilege of building someone else's company. After a time, anyway, because it was just after you got the knowledge, it's like, wait a minute, what am I doing here? I'm paying for the privilege of actually building this company no one knows, and I've got no control over it. And I've got the other thing it thought about me as well is, like, I was never able to change it to adapt to my local market, because the key wording in that had to be for everybody. That's what I felt, and that was the difficulty. So I understand what went wrong with Century 21, because it went out and it was taken over by Shepherd's Direct eventually. Once I left, it actually just fell apart, because we were keeping it going ultimately. So Shepherd's Direct took over, but I understand what went wrong in that system, and I know today how to build a successful, self-employed model easily. But it's nothing I'd want to redo, because again, I'm getting back to saying that, why would I want to do that and reinvent that wheel? That's the thing for me, and I didn't see the need to do that. So that was where I went with Century 21. It was a natural progression as well that Fife Properties at the time, I knew the owner from the beginning, and I wanted his premises for Century 21 when I first started in 2006. So I actually approached him and said, are you thinking about retiring? He said no. But then I approached him when I was ready 5 or 6 years later, once the franchise is up for renewal, and said, I know you spoke to you before, but are you thinking of it? He said, yeah, I'm ready now. Again, point of readiness. But I kept asking. It wasn't the case that I just accepted no and that was it. I just kept asking and asking, because The one thing I noticed about Fife Properties is it only had 2 properties on, and one was his in Spain, and one was the owner's timeshare and just up the road, and that was it. But it kept coming up in the front of Google every single time when you searched, because it's Fife Properties. So I wanted the premises that he was in, because it was a key location, because all the traffic passes it. Because I like to own my own offices, and that's another way of building wealth. Another really good way of building wealth is to own your own offices. All the richest people in the world own their own real estate, and they work in it in order to provide that income. That's another story about building wealth. But at the same time, he says, "Well, look, you know, I'll give you the website name as well," and I kind of just throw it in. Okay.
You didn't argue with that one.
No, just throw it in. Okay. Now at that time, to be honest, I was going, wow, we're getting 700 visitors a month. And look at, and effectively that transpires in 2000, that's in 2012. So 700 visitors a month in 2012 was about, what, 9,000 a year? And 10 years later, we're at 450,000 visitors a year. What does that say?
Says a lot. You have just given me about 250,000 questions to ask you to unpick.
Mm-hmm.
So can I go back?
Yeah.
Okay. So being unemployed at 21 to being a company director by 30, just listening to you now, you've got incredible drive, you've got incredible passion, you've got incredible vision as to, you know, where you want to be and where you wanted to get to. Where does that come from? You know, for people that are listening or watching, you know, are you born with it? Did you go out? I mean, I know you said obviously you had books, you had tapes, you had mentors there. How did you get that mindset, and getting people listening, how can you help them to get that learn it all mindset?
Do you know, a lot of the driving force was me, is I had to do it whether I liked it or not. I had to succeed. I had no other choice. When you're at the bottom of everything and you have no skill, you have nothing to offer anybody, and you've got no job and you've literally got no home, then you have no choice but to succeed. That was basically what drove me. My wife was a huge influence on me.
Okay, brilliant.
Take a moment, because I'm getting emotional about this when I talk about this, but she was a huge drive for me, absolutely huge, and she still is. And for me, it was I just had to do it. I had to do it at all costs. I would rather die trying than actually not succeed or not try at all. Literally, that's how I think. And that drive, and probably when I look back, and I have analysed it, it goes back to a very poignant moment in my life where I watched my dad, and literally he had smashed his ankles because he was a window cleaner, and he fell from the top of the ladder, smashed his ankles. You'll never walk again. And from 5 years old, I watched my dad walk, and real pain. And for me, I think it resonated with me for the rest of my life. It's like, this is the miracle man, you know, and it only started to come back to me. But he showed me he showed me all the drive, he showed me all the passion, because he was like this as well, and he still is like this today. Even though he's got onset Parkinson's and everything now, but he still has that sort of in him. He's still programmed like that. So I think I got that off of him. It's the people you surround yourself with and the people you associate with as you get like as a result of it. So you have to find people that are more successful than you to associate with in order, because that'll rub off on you at some point in time. I can guarantee you. And it's like what your mum used to say, don't play around with these people, because it'll rub off on you. And if they get into trouble with the law, guess what's going to happen with you? And you're going, no, of course not. But now we know, as we've grown up, it's like, that's absolutely right. You get like the people you associate with.
100%. And actually, I've got a similar story as well. So my dad was in hospital for the first 23 years of my life. Our second home was literally Hammersmith Hospital all the time. And 2 years before we passed away, we went in there, and all the nurses and doctors that we knew were really well were in tears. And we said, well, what's the matter? They said, go and say goodbye to your dad. next day was starting off a new business. I mean, he was so incredible. He had such an incredible, powerful mindset, so strong, so positive. And, you know, I'm inspired by him every day. You know, I think about him and what he went through, and didn't moan, didn't complain, got on with it, and, you know, was incredibly successful what he done. But it was his mindset and his attitude and his drive and determination that has, you know, really, really helped me. And, you know, just like your wife has been a massive support, you know, Sam was a massive, massive support to me. You know, when I first started in agency, I don't think I sold a property. Well, I don't know if I should admit this on this, but I didn't sell a property for the first 9 months in agency, full stop. So,
I was terrified, Stephen. I was terrified. When I first started in a state agency, I was terrified. We had no idea what we were doing, but we literally had a bit of paper and we had a dream, and we decided. I mean, we used to check the phone to see if it was working, because it's like, it's not ringing. Go and ring it just in case it's not working. And I remember these times. And we started off in my wee office at Caledonian House, which is across from the golf club. And we literally put window cards in the window. And we had a dream and we had a vision. And we thought, well, we're going to do this. I don't know how we're going to do it, but we're going to do it. And it was knocking on doors. It was, you know, it was doing what we needed to do. But my mindset was never like that. I forced myself into that situation and overcame my fear. And sometimes it was real tasking, to the point that it actually affected me mentally. You know, but I had a dream and I had a vision, and I was determined to make it happen. No one was ever going to tell me I was never going to succeed. The only person that's going to do that is me, and I'll decide if that's the case. So as long as you keep going, you will always succeed as a result. Even though you're not getting the results you want or they expect at this point in time, the very fact that you're continuing to keep going will ensure that you will succeed at some point in time. I always say it, every dog has their day. It always comes round. You just have to be sitting. You have to make sure you're still in the game. That's the whole point. Literally, when you look at this, we've got 2 eyes, we've got 2 arms, we've got 2 hands, we've got 2 legs. We're exactly the same as everybody else, and even the most successful and richest people in the world. What makes a fundamental difference between them and us is this 6 inches up here between your ears. That's what it is. That will determine your future forever. As a man thinketh, so he become. And if you don't think right, or you think negative thoughts, guess what you're going to get? Your brain and your mind is a computer. If you put garbage in, you're getting garbage out, whether you like it or not. You can't determine that. You can only think about one thing at a time. Classic example is, I've got a sore eye, so I kick you in the leg, and you go, oh, my leg, and I go, is your eye sore anymore? Well, funny enough, it isn't, because you can only think of one thing at a time. So if you give your mind, and it's no easy, it's, you know, easier said than done. If you give your mind positive and you be appreciative and you focus on all the good things all the time, then you will feel good about yourself. And as a result, people around you will feel good about themselves, and a rising tide will lift all ships. And there's one thing you know about me, I love a good cliche.
You certainly do, but you put that so succinctly. So, you know, I think it's fantastic, you know, having that growth mindset, being incredibly positive, and you're in control of it as well. That's the important point. You are in control. So you determine your feelings, your outcome, and your results. You know,
that's what it came back to. I mean, as at an early age, you're absolutely right. And now you sit there and talk about the control thing. It was very much a lot like that, because a lot of things have happened in my life, whether it was bullying, whether it was, you know, people making decisions that I had no control over. They all added to the success I've got so far. So, you know, I could only say thank you very much to Colin Knox for actually bullying me at Tillis Russell and forcing me out the door, because literally he forced me to get a job which was double the salary with a company car. Thank you, Colin. What more could I ask for? And it's hard for a lot of people to realise that, you know, but that I've gone through all that. I've gone through all the pains. I've gone through all the heartache. I've gone through all the mental process in your mind about forcing yourself to do something that's completely uncomfortable, to the point that you could check yourself into the nearest asylum because of it. I've forced myself to do it all the time because I'm not a natural salesperson. I'm not. And that's what people don't realize. I'm a very introvert person. It's literally just wheel me out of the box, point me in the right direction, and I'll get the job done. And then put me back in the box to rest, and I'll just sit in complete darkness and go away for a while. That's kind of where my mental process is. I'm quite structured and controlled about that.
Look, I think you make a really important point. You've got to get uncomfortable to be comfortable. You've got to put yourself out of your comfort zone to do that. You know, and we're going to come on and we're going to talk about, you know, I think you're on day 1000 of continuous videos, or knowing you day 2000, which is absolutely incredible. So we come on to that. So I just want to go back to setting up 21, because there's going to be people on here that are maybe thinking about starting their own agency and leaving what they're doing. And you had nothing, and actually, whether it was at Century 21 or when you went to 5 and the person only had 2 properties, you had to start from somewhere, because I'm sure he wasn't going to give you his property in Spain or his timeshare, maybe. But
no, literally, I got a premises, and I got a premises and a website name. That's it. I never bought anything else of them.
Okay, so. I know you mentioned door knocking before. You know, what tips can you help on both the sales side and the letting side for people that are listening or watching, please?
Sales side and letting side. If you're just getting started, it literally is canvassing. It literally is going door to door and dropping leaflets through letterboxes. The great thing about canvassing and being boots on the ground is you get to understand your area. You also get to engage with the people in the area. And if you've got a suit and tie on every single time you're canvassing, you never represent your company in your skivvies, because that is a no-no. You're suit and tie, suited and booted, because when you're out canvassing, people realize it's no longer the canvasser. That guy's got importance. He's got a suit and tie on, and they pay attention to that. And they go, "What's he doing? Putting things through doors." It's like, "Oh, what are you doing?" It's like, "Oh, well, I'm just handing this out the day." And you get to chatting with them, and you get a conversation going. "Oh, well, I'm no selling my now. But I know you're no selling your house, but keep a hold of it, because you can maybe give it to someone you know, and if you can help me, that'd be absolutely fantastic." It's like, fantastic, that's great. And it's getting to know the people in your area and understanding that, but more importantly, getting to know the whole of the area. So because you walk the walk, right, rather than talking the talk. Use the wee cliche here. You now know the whole area, because you know where the play park is, because you've walked it. You know where every single house is and every single street is, and who's got a dead end and who's not got a dead end, who's got a through road, and who's got a wee cul-de-sac or a pend at the end of this which cuts through to somewhere else. And literally, we spent our whole time putting out tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of cards, and we walked every single place, every single time. We'll do 10,000, and then 2 weeks later, we'll do the same 10,000 again. And then 2 weeks later, we'll do the same 10,000 again. And it's literally, people were going, "You nuts." It's like, no. And even in the shops in the high street, could I put some of my cards on your desk? We're just starting our own business. We're getting started, putting them on the side. And it's like, hopefully you'll be able to help me. And that's literally what we did. It was knocking on doors. When we came to a board, when we came to a competitor's board, it was sitting there. Now, this at the time, I thought, competitor, that's not how you should think. You're your only competitor, but that's a different story, and that's a different level of thinking. So initially I used to think everybody was my competitor, but that's not the case. It's you're the one competing against yourself to be the best you can be, to get the most you can get as a result of that. And people will be attracted to you for you. But I used to knock on other people's doors when they had another board out and just hand the card into them and say, "Look, I'm starting my own business. I do realise you're actually on with someone else. How's it going so far?" And then they would start to tell me all the stories, mostly horror stories, about how it's not going for them. And literally, I would go, oh, I'm going to bank that, I'm going to bank this, I'm going to bank that, and that'll come out in the next market appraisal. I was round at somebody's house, and they say, oh, they couldn't believe this, and they couldn't believe that, and they couldn't understand why this was happening, why that wasn't happening, because the third-party endorsement people will believe rather than yourself saying it. So that was easy to use, and it was conviction because it was coming from someone else I knew, and I knew that was that. So it's not anything made up. So I gathered loads and loads of stories for what you would say your war chest. So you know what to pull out the bag and when to pull out the bag based on who you're talking to. And that's that accommodates and adapts to your pitch. But also some people would say, look, I'm sick to death of them. I tell you what to do. Come out to see me. Or come round my house now, have a look, tell me what you think. And then I would just give them an honest opinion what they should be doing. Sometimes it wasn't what they wanted to hear, but they said, really, I tell you what, I respect your decision. They would sometimes go on to sell their house with that person because it happened maybe a week later and they didn't want to change. But I tell you what, guess who they endorse next time? Every single time. And I thought, if I can't win you over now, the very valuable lesson I learned in sales, and this was on my training, my mentoring, was if you're not first, make damn sure you're second. Because at some point in time in the future, they'll fall out with first. I'll guarantee you that. Everybody always does. And it takes a lot to be number one all the time. And at some point in time, they'll fall out with that person and you'll be next in line. Or if they don't get good service from that person, you're the next person they're going to endorse to everyone else when they're down the pub. And that's the bigger side of thinking and actually think about it. It's like when you think about it in my accountancy terms, it's like a massive spreadsheet in your mind about how this all interlinks to everything, and how you do something here will affect all around here and all the way up here, and how that all breaks out and cascades through. And the opportunities you've got is unbelievable by just one conversation you can have, and where that can lead to and who else that can influence is going to be mind-blowing. So it's the farmer mentality, like you and Chris talk about, and the long game that you're playing for. I always envisaged I want 5 properties to be here, more successful in 100 years' time without me. And that's how I do it. That is the Japanese mentality. It's the long game. But after I'm gone, this is the longevity of this company is going to be forever. I literally said to my staff this morning, I am a caretaker for this company and I am a caretaker for this job. I would like to give you my job, but you've got to earn it.
Okay. I like Kaizen. Very good. Continuous improvement all the time. Very, very good. So coming back then, there's some great tips there. But again, you know, what I'm getting from you is it doesn't come easy. You've got to work hard. You know, you've got to put the steps in, the hard slog in order to get there. You've got to make it happen. You know, now, you know, obviously we've got Facebook. And we've also got videos, which you are absolutely incredible. So you, I think, are the most viewed person in the whole of Scotland, maybe the whole of UK. Wherever I go, I see you absolutely everywhere. What made you decide to go into video? And what benefits have you seen from it? Because there's still a reluctance from some that are going to be watching or listening to this that think, you know what? I just don't want to get my face out there. You said earlier, actually, you know, you're an introvert. So actually to do the amount of videos that you do continuously, the amount of lives that you do, you know, so every Saturday you're doing a live, whether it's with yourself or your colleagues, every Sunday you're doing a live, now on the wealth creation, you know, you're doing videos on yourself on what's going on. Yeah, what's going on. So you've created your own show as well. So for somebody who's so introverted, and there's a lot of people out there who are introverted, how do you just get started in the first place?
It all goes back to, I do remember I was so excited about a property one day that I thought, how can I tell everybody else about it? And then that's when I decided to go live on Facebook for that one occasion, just to talk about it outside. And talk about point of readiness and preparation. And then the video training turns up with Chris Watkin. And it's like, wait a minute, how did that happen? It's like, I have gone and done this, and I have no idea why I did that, but I was compelled to do it because I felt so excited, and I thought, how could I tell the whole world about this property? I literally said, this property is absolutely amazing. It's close to the beach and everything. And I'm going to say to you now, ready, steady, go. You better inquire us now. And that was literally my first video. It will be there on Facebook somewhere. And then the video with the guys in the training popped up, and I think that was with you. So it was the connection with you that then led me to Chris. And talk about the whole thing interlinked. And so this then popped up, and I thought, do you know, I'm going to have to do this because it was FOMO. It was the fear of missing out. It drove me. Again, I come back to it. A lot of things are fear. It drives me, and having nothing. And having that mindset of being broke, you know, I mean being broke as in not thinking you're big enough and you've made it and all the rest of it. I'm talking about being hungry. I'm staying hungry all the time. I mean, you know, I literally, again, I talked with the team this morning. I literally paid myself less than them because I want to stay hungry every single day. And you know, my wealth builds, that's got nothing, and that's no taxable, so that's fine. But I want to stay hungry every single day, and I don't want to reward myself constantly all the time for things that I achieve, because I want to achieve a lot more. And I realize if I reward myself too quickly or too much, I'm going to become complacent, and I'm going to lose that hunger and desire for what I want and what I want to achieve. So that drove me to do video as a result, because the fear of missing out. One of the things that resonated with me was when Chris Watkins said, could you imagine if your competitor down the street does it before you? Ooh, boy. And when we sat there, I sat with Richard, and we sat about 20 people in the room, and Chris actually said from the front of the room, there's only about 2 or 3 of you will actually do this. And I looked at the people on both sides of me and said, hard lines, guys, it's me. And Richard says, I'd kid you were going to say that. And I said, that is, because I literally, when people say that, when people say there's only 3 people in the room that are going to do this, I do look at the other side of me to everybody and say, well, it looks like there's 2 other people that are in there, because I'm definitely doing it. And so I commit to things immediately. I tell myself, even though I've not got a solution for how I'm going to do something, I say, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it, and I'll find a solution. Because once you commit to doing it, your mind starts to work in the principles to do that. So that's how video came about. And then once I committed to it, I found a way to do it. And I started to learn from people. Again, we're going to people that are more successful than me, you know, at this. The Lisa Novaks and other people in the industry, all the people that were doing it far better than me. And Chris was doing loads and loads of stuff as well, on you know, the interviews and everything like that. And I used to sit and study him all the time. And I still do study a lot of people when they do things. I'll sit and watch filmmakers and directors when I'm watching a film now, and I actually watch how the camera pans in certain angles and stuff like that, and think to myself, is this something we can incorporate into what we do when we do video tours? I watched some of the most successful real estate agents in the world. Ryan Sergeant is a really good one in America. So he actually works with he's like sell it like Sergeant. So he's only come onto my radar just now, but it's because it's through Grant Cardone about taking massive action. Because I've read 10X. I've probably read 10X about 3 times now. God knows where that book was when I needed it. But he literally did what I did. I've been around longer than him, but he succeeded more than me in the same industry. What does that say? It's all about mindset and massive action, and your goals bigger than you. It literally frightens you as a result of it. So that drove me to do that and the video, and I've never stopped. And I feel that if I stop, it's like you're almost not training. And everything I do is about training. It's training every single day. I got questioned by one of my employees the other day. They stopped me in my tracks when I said this to them. I went, whoa, what? I don't understand. I thought you'd arrived. I said, everything I do every single day is in preparation for something greater I don't know about yet. It will appear at some point in time when I'm ready, the opportunity. But everything I'm doing right now is preparatory towards that opportunity. I have not arrived. This is just the beginning. And a lot of people just don't get that. And that's how you should think every single day. You should have a deep down desire, a burning desire to succeed. But you should also, more importantly, think to yourself, I have got more to give. I have got more ahead of me. There's an abundance out there that I've got to attract as a result. And everything I do every single day is preparation and preparation for that event. For that time it will come up. You don't know what it is or where it is, but you must have faith in yourself for that reason. Now, that's not going to happen every day. I wake up some days and go, it's all over. And then I slap myself across the face and go, what are you talking about?
Okay, so people watching this are going to ask two questions. So consistency, how are you doing it every day? And secondly, what sort of content? I can't come up with all the content. Where do you come up with all the content?
I have great content creators and teams of people who work with me to create the content I need. So I deliberately, I watch these people and I study these people, and then I make a decision to get these people as part of my team. Just like a president or a prime minister would have a team of, all about them, PR, writers, promoters, all these different people on your team. This is how to create more than 168 hours a week. You don't have 168 hours a week. You don't have 24 hours a day. You have as much time as you want in the world. All you do is you get other people to work with you to create that time and multiply that effect. So you don't have 24 hours in a day. You have as many hours a day as you want. It's up to you if you want to create that and bring other people in. And you have to work with other people to make that happen. So a lot of content is provided in that way by my teams, but then I put my own story to that. So my own understanding, my own knowledge, my own experience. So you can go on and read an article and it'll literally take you 4 minutes to read of what we've got online. But I tell you what, if you watch the show, it's going to take an hour at least, because it's like this. You get onto one question and the next question and the next question, and it's because of your experience and your track record that you understand how to interpret that for your local market. I mean, I did Zoopla's UK report yesterday, but so I did the UK top index yesterday about house prices and where Zoopla's going, and then immediately I put my own spin on it about how it affects the Fife housing market and how the Fife housing market is to the UK housing market. So to make it personal to our area and our place. So there's lots and lots of content. And if you're out for a brilliant walk and you come across a cafe and you're having a nice cup of coffee, it's like, hey, go on and endorse the cafe. It's literally, hey, I'm here at the Giddy Garnet today and you wouldn't believe it. Look at this cake. Absolutely fantastic. A picture of the cake with your phone. I tell you what, I put their post on to their thing, like and share their page, and if you get a chance on the Fife Coastal Path when you're walking along, pop into Giddy Garnet and get yourself one of these wonderful cakes that also do lovely vegan sausage rolls. And until next time, guys, I'm Jim Parker for Fife Properties TV. Bang. And that is literally it. In the space that I'm actually sitting there and doing and having a relaxation with a cup of tea and a cup of coffee, it now comes naturally. That in the beginning was forced. Now it's just off the cuff. It's easy to do every single time. Preparation and training will lead you to where you should be in the future.
Brilliant. Okay, so let's talk about training, because you're a very firm believer in training, not only training yourself, but training your colleagues. Why do you think it's important to do that?
Well, you ask an Olympic athlete if they shouldn't run every day. That's the reality. If you want to be the best, you have to train every single day, and then some. And you have to train on the days that other people won't train. Christmas Day, New Year's Day. The days that you don't want to train is the exact days that you should train, because no one else is doing that. This is the old thing. I will do today what others will not, to achieve tomorrow what others cannot. So when you're off ill, for example, read a book, because no one else will be reading a book that's off ill. You know, so it's all these little things. So, and remember the compounding effect here. If you did that every single day, I mean, I read every single day, literally for 15 minutes a day, regardless. But I also consume a lot of other information from other areas. But I specifically read because reading helps me with my diction and my grammar. It also keeps me in the zone, but it keeps me thinking right up here as well because I'm reading the right information and it's helping me develop over a period of time based on where I want to go and the successful people that I'm learning from. So I will pick certain books and certain people to learn from based on where I want to go and how that person's going to get me there as a result. It's no me. I'm no inventing this out of thin air. This is all information that's all available to you free of charge, basically for buying a book and keeping a book for the rest of your life. And you can read it and read it and reread it and reread it, and you'll get something different every single time. I've read Think and Grow Rich about 50 times because it is the Bible for property investment and wealth creation. And why would you know? If you want to be a millionaire or a multi-millionaire, you should be reading the books from these people that have achieved that already. That's the whole point. Why would you go to your person down the pub and ask them, how do I be a millionaire? Oh, sorry, you're unemployed. How's that going to work for you? You know, people take financial advice from people that actually do not have a clue about their finances, and yet they'll sit there and listen to them. So you listen to the people that are far more successful than you because that might give you the inspiration to actually get to their level. There's no way a millionaire could teach you to be a billionaire if they're not. There's no way a multimillionaire could teach you to be a billionaire. And there's no way a broke person can teach you to be rich at all because they're skin, or they'd be rich already. And it's the same with mentality. It's the same with training. It's the same with to be the best estate agent, to be the best letting agent, to be the best at anything. You have to learn from the best if that's what you want to be, or you'll never. It doesn't just happen. You have to get it. You have to make it happen. But some people wonder what the heck happened. And that's the people that just sit and do nothing.
Yeah, you're spot on. Success leaves clues.
Absolutely. And it's luck. It's like, well, luck is just when preparation and opportunity meets. It's called labour under correct knowledge. That's what luck is. It's just that you've worked for it, and the luckier you get is the more you practice every day. I mean, I think it was Lee Trevino or somebody that said that. You know, it's the more I practice. How are you so lucky? Well, the more I practice, the better I get, and the better I get, the more I practice, and I just get good at it.
Yeah, I think it may have been Gary Player. I think
Gary Player. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, you're spot on. So one final question. Just intrigued. You're getting you're saying 450,000 visitors a month.
A year.
A year. There you go.
Right. But that's not to say, because think about that. That's almost like a stadium. That's a football stadium's worth of people on your website every single month, from 600 to that much within 10 years.
Okay. Tips that people should be doing in order to get that traffic, and actually that's important. That's to your own website.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're not talking about them going to the portals.
If you add on Rightmove and Zoopla, we're up at 600,000.
Okay.
So we actually get more than them.
Okay. So again, a couple of tips to share before we say goodbye.
Blogs all the time. Local blogs. Churn them out as much as possible, as much as you can. Get them on your website. Get loads of posts that are keyworded for your website. These are classics. You know, like 5 homes, 5 properties, 5 landlords, 5 tenants. So Google loves new content every single time. Google's like a library. Let's be honest. You walk in, you meet the librarian, and you say to the librarian, I'm looking for the most up-to-date book on real estate, on who's going to sell my house or selling a house. Now, Google's not going to look for somebody's book that's been done 10 years ago, which is what people do with their website and leave it. They're going to say, I tell you what, I'll give you Jim Parker's because he's been churning out all the new stuff. It's probably completely relevant to you. So Google indexes you as a result of that and puts you in the priority and importance of everybody for the locality. So loads and loads of content. and then put your videos on there as well. You can just attach a link in from YouTube and then put your podcast on there as well, which is in from Anchor as well. So everything pulls to your website all the time. Everything should be focused on your website. You should be building your brand on your website. Don't, for God's sake, the amount of people I see that put a post from Rightmove onto their Facebook page of their property listing. What? Are you just wanting people to go to Rightmove to get property? Because you're sending them to your competitor's website as well, because that's where their listings are as well. Why would you not be sending it to yourself? But I see that time and time again, how people are actually just putting posts from Zoopla and Rightmove. And it's like, why do you not put your own post on? Some of the new self-employed estate agents are doing that right now. I'm just got my head in my... I feel like going on and telling them and banging their head against the desk. Are you crazy? It's like you're advertising somebody else's site. Why would you not be advertising your own, for God's sake?
Crazy, isn't it?
Because you want to drive traffic to you, because you are the local expert. And as a result, when Facebook and all the rest of it, and people start to engage with you, then Google sees that as well, Facebook sees that as well, and you become the important barometer for that, and you become more important than Rightmove or Zoopla for the area. And again, it goes into Google's indexation, and Google loves new content. Keep churning out on your website, keep posting on your website, keep updating your website. That's what it's all about. But content creation with keywords in there is probably the most important thing you can ever do. But again, it's a long game. It won't happen overnight, because you've got to retrain everybody. You've got to retrain Google into the way you're thinking and the content creation all the time, and then you become important, and then you have clout as a result as well. And that's important as well, because then what happens is you get the newspaper reporters actually seeing all your news feeds. You get local people and local businesses, and you get other people seeing it, and literally everybody starts going, "You're the boy off the telly." I'm like, "What? The telly?" It's like, that's, I am literally gobsmacked. I stood in a queue the other day and somebody heard me talking and they went, "Oh, you're that guy." I went, okay, so what is it we're talking about? It says, "I see your vlogs all the time coming up on social media, and I loved your one about that." I says, "What's your name?" And she went, "Shona." I says, "Shona, see, the next time I'm on and I'm doing a live, just put in the comments, 'Hi Jim, it's Shona,' and I'll give you a shout out." Job done. That's it. It's engaging with your audience.
100%. But look, that's a really nice way to end. You were inspirational. I've got walking football soon. I'm going to be inspired now. I'm going to go out there. My mindset is growth and show them how it's all done. So I'm going to get a hat trick today with a bit of luck. Thank you so much for your time. Incredibly grateful. People want to find you. I know it's pretty easy, but some people may not.
The best one to get me from is to follow me on the official Jim Parker on Facebook. So the official Jim Parker, I mean, I've got my own personal profile, but to be honest, you'll get more because we're pushing a lot more to my official page, which is my public profile, because you'll get a lot more people on there than you will, because you only get 5,000 on your own. So you probably want to do the official Jim Parker. You can get us on YouTube. You can get us on LinkedIn. So I've got a LinkedIn profile as well. You can get us on Instagram. You can get us on TikTok now.
Hey.
So you can get us on all these different pages. Wherever it matters, we'll be there, because we know that gives us an emerging presence.
Brilliant. Well, look, I'm incredibly grateful for your time. You have shared so many lessons that are going to help loads and loads of people. So thanks very much. Thank you all for watching and listening. Please rate it, review it. Give Jim loads of love as well. Incredible gentleman. It's been a pleasure actually watching your development and growth and seeing how well you're doing and how it's taken off. And it's absolutely fantastic. And seeing the results as well, what your customer thinks is incredible at the Estes. Well done.
I only just think I'm getting started. That's the thing. I just literally think I'm getting started. I'm just at the start of this journey. And yet people are saying, "Wow, it's amazing what you've achieved." But we are literally just getting started. You as well.
Fantastic. Thanks very much. Thank you all for watching. Have a good day, night. Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye for now.